It is frosty. We have packing to do today. We have a bunch of inventory to process. There is no packing bench to work with at the moment because yesterday I went sourcing as I do once every fortnight, picked up a bunch of clothing and also a huge haul of Thomas and cars, toy cars, and so they need to get processed, otherwise there is no bench. We've also only sold 2 items of clothing since Monday, so 2 items of clothing, 1 a day. This one's a pretty standard item. This one's the interesting one. I'll talk to you guys about it in a bit. So the plan for the day is to process through this before I go for my Cairo adjustment. That's in an hour and a bit. Then come back, pack orders, do a bit of show and tell, and then I'll get through to go and start doing the clothing that we picked up yesterday. May have some thoughts along the way. Some stuff churning from the drive. Usually when I go for a long drive to go pick up stuff, this was an hour away. The brain percolates. Stick around. Hopefully it's a worthwhile episode, like most of them are. Those of you who are constantly showing up to watch these videos and telling me how they help you, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you the most. And those of you who are here for the first time, I also appreciate you. Consider subscribing, consider sharing with a friend. Let me know in the comments what you'd like me to talk about. Let me know how this benefits you so that I can continue to shape the channel to better benefit you and help you get the most value for your time. So what I normally do is I will carry a smaller tub into the bag, just a variety, because when I photograph a photograph by the location, I kind of want to mix it all up. I don't want to put the same inventory into the same tub. First thing is weight distribution. So sometimes if I just put purely Hot Wheels into one of these tubs, it's a small tub, but it's a heavy tub. And these racks, I don't think are actually designed to hold that much weight. So usually I'll have a mixture of, as you can see, we've got Hot Wheels in here, some heavy Hot Wheels in here. But we've also got really light action figures. Some really light like Transformers in here, a Transformer. So like a tub like this, when I take it to the back, I'm going to be topping it up with mostly like wooden Thomas trains, plastic trains, plush, so that these shelves can last longer. As much as I would prefer for nicer shelves, and by nicer I mean when you go to a warehouse, you see the blue and white shelving with the orange, you know, like there's an eye candy element to it. This is very functional for me, and if you're new to the channel, these are the IKEA Trofast. I love it because I don't have to square everything up the way with clothing. For example, I can square everything up because all the bags are the same size and the pick bins are the same size. With toys, if I have to square it up, I end up losing space. I run the risk of scuffing them as I slide the things in and out if they knock on the top, like here for example. So having something that's more fluid, so to speak, actually works in my favor. All of these gaps actually are great for when the toys kind of have that odd toy that's sticking up like a centimeter above the rest, but at least I can keep it quite compact. So this works a lot better for me. The Hot Wheels, the Thomas, the action figures, they don't actually scuff from the rummaging. You need a lot more impact to break the paint. So yeah, I've been storing like this for a while now. I don't bother zip locking them unless they have a moving part, which in this case, for example, there's like a roof bit that can come off. So if there is no moving part, I just put it in here, and when I ship it out, buyer gets it, they go, yep, item as described. So right now I'm almost done topping up this tub. We've got a mixture in here. We've got a large Transformer that's not exactly heavy. This one should go for about 40 bucks. They only wanted $4. We've got some mint condition matchbox here. This particular op shop I almost hardly ever pick toys from because they want $10 a bag. They do $1 each item, but they mix crap with good things. And usually the condition's really bad because they set up their toy section like a play area, and kids will just grab the bag, drop it on the floor. Not what I want. I don't think it's too much to ask for parents to discipline their kids to respect or train their kids to respect just inventory. I get that it's free inventory, and I get that op shops do get frequented by lower socioeconomic demographics, but still, please and thank you. That's something that, regardless of whether you're rich or poor, you get taught that. So I feel like when I go into an op shop and I see parents just browsing and then kids just dumping toys on the floor, it's like the parent chooses to justify rather than restrain. There are parents that do, but clearly that behavior doesn't happen in Target. Like if it does happen, there's a lot more edginess, as if the good behavior doesn't come from internal policing but external policing. Does that make sense? It's like if you go to a Salvos or a Savers or wherever it is that you Goodwill, if you're in the US, like, because it's volunteers and no one's gonna enforce it, and the environment isn't particularly pretty, and whatever. But the moment they go into like a Target or Kmart or Toys R Us or whatever, like when there's a bang, every parent looks, and that parent's like, there's that. Why don't do this at the op shop? And actually, why not just not do this at all if you train them to not drop toys? So that does bug me a little bit. But it also helps me to realize that when it is still mint condition, then it's like, great, it's really a find. Which in this case, sorry for the digression, they had these mint Matchbox cars, and this one actually didn't have the snorkel at first. My kids were like, why is it a snorkel? It's a fire truck. Yeah, but it's a thing that has this thing comes off, it clips off, right? So this thing didn't have a snorkel, but in the bag 2 rows up had this fire truck without the extendable ladder with the snorkel clipped to it. So then we picked up both of them. They also had this Matchbox truck here. Look at the condition of that. So we did pick these up, very happy with that. The window, despite these Matchbox trucks going for between $10 and $20 in this condition, the win actually is this. So this is Micro Machines. It actually doesn't say Micro Machines anywhere on the box because all that card has been removed. But this one is, if you see, actually no, it does say at the bottom, but not the logo though. So Micro Machines there. If you see Galoob and you see tiny cars, do pick them up. We paid $7 for this packet. It's all brand new. Each one of these tiny cars is a real car. They're not like the newer models, the newer micro cars. I think they're made by Drive or Driven, whatever that brand is. They copy, but not really. So you can see the silhouette of a Porsche or a Ferrari, but it's not model accurate. It's just accurate enough for you to go, it's red and it looks like a sports car and it looks like it's sharp at the front and square at the back. I guess it's a Ferrari. Like, that's kind of the extent to which they go to. Micro Machines did try to be accurate to the point where they would even paint the... I was hoping to not open this until I get to the back. That way it doesn't get lost in this stuff. But for the sake of showmanship, we shall risk it all. Okay, so they will even paint the border of the windshield for separation. Look at that. So these are all real cars, and at the bottom even tells you what the cars are. So you can see we've got a 59 Impala, 65 Lincoln, we've got a 56 pickup, 54 Chevy, and a 58 Thunderbird. Look at that. Each one of these cars, so we paid $7 for this, each one of these cars will sell for at least $20 or more plus international shipping. Which is, yeah, very, very cool. We've got these Trackmaster trains here. I'm topping this tub up by working my way through, just checking batteries, see what works, what doesn't work. And if we have trains that do work and trains that don't work, then figuring out how to swap the shells around. For example, we've got 2 Harveys here. This one, we're just in the process of taking the battery out. Whenever I pick up a train and I can feel that the battery is still in there, I'm like, please don't rust. So to see clear terminals, so you can see those little shiny terminals, very happy with that. Sometimes they do take some time to wake up. And the longest time that has happened, I don't know the science of it. I'm not technically inclined that way, but if someone knows why, let me know in the comments. I'd be keen to learn, and I will probably also tell my kids, because my kids are, particularly my son, is interested in like knowing how things work at the moment. He's in that primary school age curiosity stage. I'll just leave the batteries in, so this one clearly works, and we'll be swapping it with this one because I do have spare parts here that I can, you know, put the piston rod here, but then in the interest of time, ironic because we're doing a video, I'll just put this one with the shell that has the cargo for now, and then we'll make time to put piston rods in later for the other one. The yeah, so I'll put the batteries in and then switch it on, leave it on my desk, and sometimes it can take, you know, a day or two before it starts going ging, 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 as if, hey, we finally recognize this electricity here. The longest one that has taken was, and it was, I was upstairs taking photos, so the actual studio where we take photos of clothing is just directly above here, and I'm taking something, I'm hearing this whirring sound. I come down to the garage, there's this train that I've popped the battery in, I popped it in the corner of the desk here, and it's been there for like 3 months and it just hasn't done anything. Sometimes if the battery gets hot after a day, that tells you that clearly there's current, but it's not doing anything, so the energy is building up in the battery. It doesn't get so hot that you can't touch it. We're not talking Telstra explosions here, because these are not dangerous batteries by any measure, but it feels warm. All right, so clearly we have connection, we have discharge, it's just not happening where it should be converting to kinetic energy, so therefore take it out, throw the engine away. So anyway, I come down, I hear this whirring, I'm looking for it, and it's buried under, like, oh, it's working, fine, I forgot that it was even there. So yeah, if you do pick out like motorized things, pop the batteries in, turn them on in a safe place, put them in the box preferably, and then could take a day or two for them to turn on. If you see like there's no corrosion, there's no residue, it doesn't smell like chemical. You know what I mean? Like when you pick up an item that has corrosion in it, or you can sense that something's not right. Usually, if you pick it up, you can feel wires rattling around. Get a screwdriver set. You can get on Temu, eBay, wherever it is that you do. Usually, if they don't have Phillips screws, they have these triangle kind of screws. I'm not sure what they're called, but you can get that screw head from those online marketplaces. Very, very cheap to get, and they're not screwed in super tight either. So therefore, they're just security screws, really. In which case, then, regardless of how soft the screwdriver heads are, they'll still be able to work with that. And I've bought like multiple sets over the years, and they generally last about a year if I'm refurbing trains once every month or two. Yeah, you'll be able to look inside. Are there any loose cables, any frayed cables? Are there any plastic bits that have chipped off? Because once again, it's these toys, they get dropped into toy boxes like that. Like, that's normal behavior. As much as that crash made me and you feel some sort of internal pain, that's what kids do with them every single day. Which means that there comes a point when stress leads to fracture, and fracture leads to break. So, good to check. Anyways, we'll keep checking for... We're just matching off tenders with engines at the moment. I don't know why I feel the need to do this. Find the correct word. Tenders with engine. If I just go matching train with train, like, it's the same message, but something about when we're resellers, we like to be technical. This is an example of a corroded battery terminal with residue on it. Usually, if it hasn't been caked on for a long time, a simple like medium toothbrush should do the job. Let us scrub off whatever it is, but if it's caked on quite a bit, then we will need the wire brush to do it. And what I found is just this basic cleaning process restores almost like 80% of the items. When last year we threw away, I reckon, what size is this tub? 24 liters. Let's just say 5 tubs, about 100 liters worth of like just train parts that we couldn't fix. And initially Jenny was like, well, can't you sell it for parts? Can't you try and refurb some more? But then I said to her, you do realize we have sold thousands of these, right? Like, this is hardly 5% of, this is like if we had a roast chicken and we had bones left over, this is less than that. But it just feels like a lot because we're doing it all at the same time. So yeah, most of the time, basic cleaning, some grease if you have, checking to see if gears have cracked as well, because they are plastic. It's all plastic at the end of the day, and it's plastic through temperature, and especially in Melbourne where it's hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. Sometimes when we run the engines, we'll hear this like this jumping noise or this clicking noise. Usually that just means that there's a crack in one of the gears, and it's just kind of like doing this, like two fingernails kind of just tapping each other regularly. sometimes it doesn't lead to, sometimes it will run for a while until a kid drops it and it cracks it further, and then yeah. That's part of the second-hand game, I guess, isn't it? This lot was amazing. This lot of trains and cars that we picked up, we spent $500 with the same person, and they threw in a bunch of other stuff as well. I reckon the flip on this one would be close to 2K. So we're talking 500 in, 2,500 out. So 2K in profit from the one place. In terms of processing it, it's not difficult because as much as the lot of quantity, I know all these products like the back of my head. We save a lot of time comping. For me, the biggest time drain for any new product is the comping, not so much the processing or the photography. Toy photography in particular, especially stationary products that don't require posing, 30 seconds to 4, and I'll show you guys later, like 30-40 seconds. So therefore, that part's pretty standard, whether it's a new item or not. When it comes to listing, 2 minutes. From uploading the photo to making it live, 2 minutes. For clothing, for me, it takes me 3 to 5 minutes to take a photograph of one item at the moment, especially if it's like a dress, because it involves bending down. Like t-shirts, for example, a lot easier because it's within the same kind of like frame. You put a t-shirt up, you take a photo of it, measure it. You don't have to bend down. If you have a table next to you where you can kind of, bag it up and put it away, it's all very much the same level. Whereas with dresses, when you go from knee-length dresses to maxi dresses, there's some bending, there's some fluffing, there's some holding up the fabric, there's the making sure that it's hanging, balanced. Then there's the measurements as well. There's a lot of body movement that takes time, as opposed to seeing that going just flick, 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 flick. So with clothing, it's like 5 minutes for those bigger items, 3 minutes. T-shirts can probably do it within 1 to 2. And then the research, right? So research part, 2 minutes to upload photos and list, because that part's easy. It's the pricing, because with toys, once you're a niche seller in particular, when you go to comp, your search results are not that much to go through. In fact, you can kind of type in the result. Let's just say Bumblebee, I don't know which one is it, like the Bumblebee Heroes, let's just say 10-inch, just picking a number. You'll get like 20 search results, just simply scrolling. If you're used to seeing the numbers flash past your face, you have an idea already. It's like $29.95, good enough, because you know how much you paid for it, right? So therefore, you're just hoping to see a number that you'll be happy to take, and if you see that number, done. As opposed to, which is very similar to magicians when they riffle shuffle, and then they kind of scan the deck as they riffle shuffle before they kind of tell you pick a card. If you're used to seeing something over and over again, what might seem like magic to you is something that your brain is just accustomed to doing. And so actually this is a really nice segue into something I want to talk about later, brain function. So then with the clothing, right, we're not just going into a narrow search result, we're going into usually a sea of search results, because most items of clothing, there's like purple dress, fit and flare, floral, that gives you like 3,000. Then after that, you go by size, maybe it'll give you 500. You're still kind of scrolling to see where you sit in that pool. And so then comping takes essentially double the time of the listing. So yeah, when I compare and contrast the two different categories, with toys, it's super fast and automatic. So when I talk about making $2,000 on top of 500, the multiple may not be that great, but the amount of time spent processing it actually isn't that much compared to if, let's say, if I'm putting 500 on clothing, I kind of want to get about 3 to 4 out because of the time it takes to process. Clothing does sell faster though. Clothing doesn't require that niche store. Whereas with toys, it's like we need to get like several thousand listings out before we start to see like a regular customer base. And what's the time? Another half hour before I get my back cracked. So this is Hurricane. I don't have one listed yet. Hurricane, when it first came out about 4 years ago, was common, would sell for $20. Then they released this version that had the cauldron cards. Essentially, you've got molten stuff there, and then as the tray moves, the thing kind of sways left to right. We've got 2 cauldron cars. Now this set goes for 40. All right. Douglas! No, Donald. We have Donald, who is alive, and we have, very scared now, in the on position, and it's not moving. Please don't be rusty. Please don't be rusty. It is, doesn't smell rusty. It's not rusty. Please let it work. Please let it work. Yeah. You hear that? That's a consistent hum. We want that. Cool. Some mild discoloration, but it's okay. It'll still sell for good money. So Donald and Douglas as a pair, one of them is number 10, one of them is number 9. As a pair, they go for $200, usually to an overseas buyer. And that whole box costs $200. So, winner, chicken dinner. Yeah. So all we're doing is we're taking apart these screws here to remove this and replace it with one that we've salvaged. It's kind of fun. This salvaging thing, I gave my son that job a few years back where I just said, here's a bunch of them, here's a screwdriver, go ham, take out all the connectors, and he did. Paid him some money for it too. I said, just do until you get bored. That was pretty much the brief. One comes out. I'm looking forward to doing more with my kids in this business because it's one of those businesses where they can. I used to go to my dad's office when I was a kid and do my homework there. But because he was a banker, there's nothing I could do. Just kind of don't make a mess, do your homework, and then that's it. So I'm very thankful to be able to do this with my kids if they want to. So far, they've shown interest. So far, it's that phase where they want to be around me all the time, and I want to be able to not just play. You know what I mean? Like play is fine. I do plenty of play. Those of you guys who know me, I'm very much inclined to play, but I also at the same time want to not just be the dad that plays. I want to impart something, give them some life skills, do some work with them as well, and more importantly, to make work fun because it's never left me this this exchange between kids and parents where parents go study hard, get a job, and then we'll leave you alone, and kids go, but you come home every day and you complain about work. Why would I want to give up fun now for later to then also later not enjoy what I do? And that's as much as that makes sense, there's a break in communication there, right? Parents spending so much time working hard and sometimes working from a place of overdrive to provide. And there are some circumstances that do require that. If you want to migrate to another country, if you want to provide a better life, move your kids to a better suburb, all of that stuff takes overdrive. It's not just work my regular job and hope it happens. But not communicating that to kids and not showing them that that's why leads to that conversation that I mentioned earlier, which is kids going, why would I want to do what you do? Why would I want to be miserable like you? And it comes across ungrateful, but really it's just, there's a frustration. The best definition for frustration versus anger. Frustration is when someone is incompetent. Anger is when someone has an ill intention towards you. If you feel like a righteous anger boil up inside of you in a moment of frustration, ask yourself, can I fix it with education? With more words, calmly spoken, new information exchanged, reduce this feeling that's bubbling up right now. If it will, then it's frustration. We no longer view the other as the villain. We actually choose to engage we choose to be humble and engage in conversation to get to a common place. But if more information isn't going to change that feeling, then chances are the person in front of you either does not care about you or is trying to ruin you, in which case then righteous justice, like stay away, figure out how to like distance and not get pulled into that. But with kids and parents, oftentimes it's not anger, it's frustration, which means I sit down actually unpacking and what feels like a lifetime of information and experiences into a moment of pain. I don't want that to be my experience as a dad, which is why I want to bring them into work, to show them what I do, to allow them to partake in it, to benefit from it, to enjoy it as well. When they make mistakes, I don't yell at them. When they do things slowly, I still encourage them to do it well. I don't expect them to do it at my standard or get out of here kind of thing. The only times I've been very mindful that the only times I have been, I suppose, firm is when it's safety related, or when, like, sometimes I have boxes stacked up quite high, and then my kids will just run in there and like, I want to be here. I'm like, wait, you can't be here yet. This box, this whole pile is not safe. You let me know and I'll make it safe, then you guys can come in. And the second one is when I'm in the middle of packing an order and then they come in and just want my attention, and I'll be like, hey, I do need to get this right. If I get this wrong, there are consequences that are just not here. So they understand that, the customer does need to be given that priority. Yeah, we're getting there. And I'm not sure if you can tell, I don't dread being a dad. I quite enjoy being a dad, and I quite enjoy watching their development. And they come into this space, it's always something new. They always bring something new, and if you ever find yourself getting bored of the rinse and repeat and the mundanity of life, people bring that difference. The job can be the same, but it's the people that bring the variety. Start to be curious about the people in your space. They could be the people that have been there all along, but you just haven't given them that attention. Start giving them attention, start looking at them, be curious as to why they do things, start asking questions, and you start to feel a genuine change, like clouds parting and sun rays coming through. That's kind of how I've been like, whenever things get a little bit dull and I just kind of go like, what? I just kind of sit down, grab a drink, and just reflect on all the people in my life. And I feel this sense of gratefulness. I feel this sense of like humility that, I'm here because of these people. I'm here because they are here with me. Whether they are still here or no longer here, I still feel this like, and it's interesting again. I'm looking for one more train for this because I don't have that listed currently. That is this guy, Edward. Edward goes for 40. If you guys like this just talk from the heart kind of format, I can do more of it. Also consider checking out Chris Furlong, CL Furlong, one word, FCLFURLONG. He's got a Get Wired podcast. So you won't see on the videos, he's got a podcast tab in his channel where he's just kind of stripping wire and he's talking from the heart, whatever it might be. Mostly business topics. Go check it out. I binged it whilst I was on the road sourcing, and I found it quite good. It definitely goes deeper. Occasionally it goes in circles because it's something that's of importance to him. And yeah, if you do like that kind of like thought-provoking conversation, go check it out. We're looking for a tub that is relatively empty and kind of light, like this one. This will do. In terms of getting rid of any like sticker residue, I use tea tree oil because that's, I find, the easiest and most pleasant of chemicals. I don't like using metal because I don't like the smell of metal. No, I don't like that feeling that you get after using metal. So that's kind of my choice. I understand that herbally kind of smell is not for everybody, but for me it's fine and I don't mind it. So yeah, just like bearing in mind though, anything that takes away the sticker residue is melting plastic. Therefore, you run the risk of stripping paint on toys as well. Just be mindful that after you wipe, just to clean it off with like a wet wipe or something. That way, that doesn't slowly eat into the paint over time. Although the amounts that we use is so small, it's like the chances of it happening are low, but something to be mindful of. This is a Toyota Prius. Priuses are interesting. I don't think they wanted to be part of a war, but they are always going to be part of that war between EVs and petrol vehicles, which means that if you're part of any sort of war, there will be passionate followings for it. And the Prius Matchbox cars do really well. Most of them sell for between $20 and $50, which is weird because you'd think Ferraris will do better. Not really. This stuff goes for good money, especially in this like what feels like excellent condition. Not mint. There's some scuffing on the wheels, but this is $20. You see them regularly in like the toy bins and stuff. And most people just go, just a Prius. Everyday cars do well for some brands. Hot Wheels, not so much. Hot Wheels, I think the following is more about the extravagant, the elaborate, but with Matchbox. The less tacky and more common and relatable, the better. It's like if someone drove a pickup truck and Hot Wheels made that model of pickup truck and they put it on their banister or piano or study table, it doesn't feel like a miniature of what they have, the thing that they love. But something like this, the Honda Element, this one has a scuff on it. If this was in mint condition, it would sell for $50, $100 new in box. It's a really ugly looking family car, but it's a very popular choice for North Americans. So this car, whenever I pick it up in this orange color, always goes to like America, Canada, and they will also pay the shipping on top. So in this condition, with one scuffed wheel, it will still sell for $20 plus shipping. I especially love it when I can find a car in a color that's an iconic color to that car. Red is iconic to Ferraris, right? But red's also quite a common color. Iconic would be lime green Lamborghinis, that green, that metallic green that the Mazda 2 came in a few years back. That, when you wanted a green hatchback, it was either that or the not as bright green i20. So I think Mazda also have an orange, like Mazda 2. Matchbox have made the orange one, they haven't made the green one yet. If they ever do make the green one, that one will be like super popular because of this, how iconic that color was for that hatchback era. Toyota Camrys that are maroon. There was a time when they were maroon. What else? Priuses in that light metallic blue color. You get what I'm trying to say. Whereas when kids are buying cars, they're thinking black. I want black. Black looks cool for a collection. That's for collection. That's for cool factor, not for nostalgia. Arguably, anyone who is a reseller for any period of time will know that nostalgia is the most elastic of price factors. People will pay a lot to recreate a feeling. And how do you put a price on a feeling? You can't. When I discovered that the iPhone could take such amazing photos, and then discovered that the later iPhones have this thing called a macro mode, where essentially it uses the wide angle lens and activates like a zoom in feature and autofocuses, it made me want to go for smaller items, not bigger items, because what happens is you get all this detail in the photo up close. Look at that. But it blurs out the background. Versus if you just have the normal like the standard lens, right? I'll take the same photo with the standard lens for you and you'll see what I mean. In order to get the same amount of focus, we have to go quite far out, about like here. Any closer to get that detail, and we just don't get that detail. So this is macro mode on the wide angle that the later iPhones have. This is how far you have to be to get that detail on a normal lens. This is what happens when you go close. So crappier phones will produce that last photo. And so if you're thinking of how do I get better detailed photos of my stuff, consider upgrading to later technology is really what I'm getting at. I know that we try and save money, but cutting corners, cut corners is fine. Cut corners where it's, you know, maybe slows you down a bit, maybe it essentially don't skip on quality is what I'm trying to get at. With the photo quality and with YouTube videos, upgrading to the latest iPhone when my iPhone is dead is like a no-brainer. I don't even count the cost anymore. I feel the cost, but I don't count the cost anymore. I definitely don't upgrade to the one before the latest. I just go latest because I'll be using it for like 2-3 years anyways, and then after that latest again, save for it. Thankfully, if you get it as part of a contract, you can do interest-free payments. That kind of helps your cash flow a little bit. You know, it's definitely a adjustment when you are upgrading phones every 2 years and you look at the price of phones. You're like, when did phones become $2,000? It was $1,000-ish when I bought it. Right, it's been a few years. There's this thing called inflation. I know there'll be those of you in the comments who will be like, oh no, it's not inflation, it's corporate greed. That too, that kind of contributes to the inflation. It is what it is, right? Like, compared to say getting a digital camera or trying to accept poorer quality on a crappier phone. If you have access to quality, take it. It pays in the feedback that you get from your buyers when they see your store. I've gotten compliments from buyers who say, like, you know, you've got the best inventory we've come across. Everything is clear. Like, we know what we're getting. We, you know, like, I enjoy, like, and when was the last time you said you enjoyed an eBay store? You know, especially when you have that, especially when the conversation around competitiveness and promoted listings change, like, you know, how are we going to make money? Everyone's going to race to the bottom. When all these people talk about racing to the bottom as, you know, in what feels like a cop-out, there's a whole bunch of buyers who enjoy certain eBay stores because they enjoy the eBay experience, even if there may be other better experiences out there. The eBay experience will be the perfect experience for certain people in the world, and if you are able to add to that experience, you know, that's amazing buyer retention. And having thought about quality, how your store presents, lighting, the number of times I go through, I comp items and I see poorly lit photos, that is such an easy fix. And it's such an easy fix because phones are so good now at balancing light for you. If I take a manual SLR camera and I shoot my items here with this lighting setup, it's not, the iPhone will do a better job. And the reason is because these lights are not perfectly balanced, but they're balanced enough. And there's enough light here that when considering that this is an off-white background, not a pure white background, this table is a light contrast to that background. The phone knows what to do with this. You know what I'm trying to say? Like the software can work out what is in front, what's behind, how balanced the light needs to be to make the item in front of it shine. Just simply adjusting the balance of light already helps your phone so much. But people go, I need brighter lights. You don't need brighter lights. You just need to, for one day, don't take any photos for listing purposes. Just snap, move a light, snap, move a light, snap, move a light, and understand basic principles of, if the shadow is on this side, the light is stronger on that side. And just do that. Keep doing that. Keep working it out until you figure out where your lighting needs to be relative to your stuff. Then from that point on, don't mess with it, right? Balance is like, light balance is so much more important than light intensity. You know, it's and if that doesn't make any sense, I'll give you an analogy of a symphony. And just by saying that, I think you guys already get where I'm going with this. If the sound doesn't sound great from the stage, simply asking someone to play much louder doesn't work. It's about balance. You know, simply going drums, go harder, guitar, go harder, like just making certain parts louder. Sometimes that may be the case, but for the most part, if it's all muddied and dull, it's the balance isn't right. And getting the balance right relative to the acoustics of the room, actually more like if the guitar's in the back of the room and the drums in the front, then no. You get the idea. So long story short, work on the balance, because that is something that you can do before you start upgrading your gear. The thing that I don't like is when we cop out when we can't buy something. So for example, business is going slow, we're not making enough money, and we tell ourselves that the answer is to buy something, otherwise it won't improve. And because we can't afford it, we go, I guess I can't improve it. I don't like that, because resourcefulness is about using what you've got, not about needing more resource. So figure out how to do what you can within your control to even improve the product a little bit. And if you like what you see, now we're heading in the direction of doing better. You know what I mean? That's pretty good. Time to get some lunch. Alright, let's get into the midweek orders. This is what's come in since Wednesday, Thursday. Very encouraged by this. Had a few repeat buyers come through as well. So the first one we've got is a very regular buyer. They've spent 50, 60, 70, 80, $110. And I like this buyer because she already knows the upsell thing. She'll buy and then just buy. Whenever she buys, she does it over 2 days. So I never rush to ship that up. We've got Donald and Douglas. These sold for 30. They're the Ertl range. The paint does chip off. So you can see here, there's some paint chip there. Very sought after. Always sell them as a pair. We've got Bill. Had them individually because I do have them as a pair as well. She bought the individual one. Also bought a Oliver train for 13. She also bought the Annie and Clarabelle pair for 11. A couple of troublesome trucks for 20. And this one. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. I feel like I'm missing one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, right, yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cool. The thing that started it all was this one, and I wanted to show you guys this. This is Henry from 1998. So it's got no name on the bottom of it. It's in mint condition. This one I've been asking for $40 for a year now. It's quite hard to get 40 for these trains because there's always an alternative, the newer alternative. And for some reason, you can do it with Thomas because he's essential. We talked about it in I think a previous video where you've got essential characters and then you've got like core characters and then you've got, yeah, you know what, Henry is Henry. And so you'll get people wanting to collect every version of Thomas, but you don't get people wanting to collect every version of Henry. And so that market is essentially smaller. But in this condition, sold for $36 plus shipping to this regular buyer. I like this one because you've got the coal on the tender that's actually painted in. It's not like a chunky plastic like this. Very similar to, I suppose, the dust that gets kicked up in Charlie Brown. You know, that kind of squiggle. So there is a certain look to it. He does look very earnest here. Yeah. So not all vintage is equal. Not all vintage sells through equally either. Very happy to move it to a buyer who loves my store. So that's kind of like, this is all feel-good stuff for me. Similar story with this one. This is Iron Ari and Iron Bert. They sold to the US $42 plus $35 shipping. The main thing with these guys is that you can tell them apart by one of them has stubble, one does not. So they're twins from the Thomas series, quite sought after together. It's quite easy to sell too. We picked up this collection 2 weeks ago. And yeah, we've essentially made double our money back already. This is a Trackmaster flatbed. Normally it just comes as a flatbed, but this one has a bunch of cargo that can come off. It's an apple cut. It's got green and red apples on there. It's quite nice. This one sold for $25 plus shipping to a regular buyer who only buys rolling stock, which is super cool. The fact that they know that we regularly replenish and they just, every time I put out something that's slightly unique, whether it be a flatbed in a different color with different colored, whatever these braces are that hold the cargo together, the ones that can move, the side bit is spring loaded, so you can split it, put cargo there and it clips it in. Always buys them at asking price. Very happy with that. So yeah, $25 plus shipping for this one. And when you think about it, if you were a train collector and you were creating a scene and you wanted it to be unique and special, the characters wouldn't do it. It'd be the environment. And rolling stock very much contributes to, I think, that part of it. So yeah, I completely understand rolling stock. But at the start, when I was selling trains, I get caught up in the characters and completely disregarded rolling stock. And in fact, there were several times where I buy lots, I build up this pile of rolling stock and just let it go on marketplace for $20 and it would sell instantly. But because I didn't pay attention to it, the fact that it sold quickly, I tell you guys on the channel all the time, if it sells quickly, maybe consider pricing it up or splitting it or re-offering it in a way that gets you more money. I didn't register it. And then I look back on marketplace, I look at those listings from like 7 years ago, I'm like, man. Because you know, on marketplace sometimes some of these things are so old, they don't let you archive them anymore. So they're there forever. And I look at it and I go, damn, $50 train sold for 10, bulk lot of carriages sold for 20, could have gotten 200 individually. And I was already I was starting to build the Thomas like niche eBay store. Probably had a few hundred listings back then. Wouldn't have moved as quickly. But the point being is there was all that sought after stuff that I just disregarded because I didn't understand my buyer. I was more interested in filling the gap. So the way I went about it was I saw a gap in the market, collected prices, bulk prices, nothing in between. I was interested in covering that gap and then learned from my buyer along the way. I wish I learned from my buyer sooner, and that's something that I keep encouraging you guys to do, to understand your buyer, why they buy, how they buy, why they choose you. And the more insight you have, the better you'll be at profiting in a win-win situation. The next thing we've sold, there's an order for $50 to the same buyer. We've got Timothy that sold for $8. The other 42 is this pair of troublesome trucks, more specifically the giggling troublesome truck. It makes a kind of sounds really annoying. If parents don't like that, then they don't buy it. But essentially, in this condition, it goes for about $50. We took the best offer 42. Same buyer. Giggling trucks, make sure you keep an eye out for them. This is Ned. Ned is a digger, I guess. He runs on the road part of the Trackmaster series. So you've got the blue track and then you've got these gray road track that kind of go in between the road and rail. The Trackmaster range that is made by Fisher Price isn't that great. Whereas if you buy the Tomy one or Plariel, you've got really intuitive switches for road and rail where you press a button, the boom gates go up, the train stops. There's the bit that pushes the train up and the wheels still spin, but it doesn't really move. And then these guys can go past. So essentially, if you imagine you've got a bunch of road happening and you're just monitoring Ned and you tell your friend, you're in charge of the road. Okay, so he's sitting there waiting. He goes, click, and they let it go, the train go past. And then you can cause a collision if you wanted to and whatnot. Point being is, there's a whole system there and certain characters are more sought after than others, especially if they're really old. This one was made in 2006. It sold for $84 plus shipping. Ned. In the action figure store, we sold this Fuggler. It's Lord Long Ears, I think it is. I don't get Fugglers, but they sell apparently. This one sold fairly quickly as well. There were others there. This one sold for $15 plus shipping. Next one is this Hound Legion class transformer. Essentially, it just transforms transforms really easily. It's like you open it like this. It's almost like a penknife. And then you split the cannons open like so. You flip his head up like that. This becomes his chest. Ta-da. That's it. Very compact, Legion class, love it. You can essentially create a little armada of sorts on your desk. I used to work with a guy who had all these figurines on his desk, but they were not in the way. You know, so it's not like a distraction to the rest of the office. It's just, you know what, I'm the Transformers guy here, and I'm going to have these figurines. Yeah, the miniatures are good for that. So just because they're smaller doesn't mean they sell for less. The joints are also quite strong on this one. You've got what feel like premium ball joints. So yeah, $17 or $16.96, $70 plus shipping. Just send it in a small satchel. Very easy. Next one we've got is Dave Bautista, the animal, or the guy who plays Drax in the Guardians of the Galaxy. This one has red and gold undies, which haven't scuffed off yet. Also, the tattoo is very much intact. Very, very cool. The only thing is, because these get wrestled with other characters and plastic against plastic, things do come off. In this case, we've still got the elbow pads, knee pads, all the tattoos, belly button tattoo, arm tattoos, all still intact. And despite all of that, still only $17 plus shipping. We have sold worser condition figurines for more money. Do your research. Not all wrestling is worth picking up. I think this one we paid $4 at the op shop. The last one in this store was the Red Tornado. This one sold for $24 plus shipping. Not the best condition if I'm being completely honest. The joints are in great condition, but in terms of the plastic, when we talked about plastic knocking plastic, you see all these scuff marks on the back? Yeah, this definitely been played with. You can see his lines for a character that is defined by lines, in this case the cross and the T. Having scuffs on lines does make it annoying when you're displaying and you can't appreciate those clear lines. So the fact that we can still sell for 24 kind of tells you this one, mint condition, 40, in packet, closer to 70. But we still sold it for 24. Took a while though. I did try and pose it nicely to make it look appealing. I don't think that really did much to move it. Red Tornado's following isn't that big because he's kind of like here and there, but those who like it do like it, and hence its value kind of holds. So I wouldn't be, if you have one, I wouldn't be like lowering the price to try and move it faster, because I don't think it moves any faster even if you price it lower. The market is the market, to buy when you buy, kind of a deal. I don't have a funny ad for you today like the coffee one in the previous video. This is an Alana heel skirt. It sold for $17 plus shipping. Yeah. I brought you coffee. Oh, thanks. Same time next week. Those of you who saw it, especially the members of the channel, said that they liked it and that I should have more fun with it. Consider becoming a channel member for $3.99 a month. If you don't like it, you can cancel at any time. Hopefully the content that I make justifies your investment in the channel and your investment in helping the community through the content that I make. This content does take effort to make, the editing, the staging, the thought. So whenever you recognize that and you invest in the channel, it means a lot, that recognition, to continue doing so. I've also had audience members tell me that during periods where I have not made as much content in the past year, where they've stopped the memberships, that's also fine. It doesn't, there's no hard feelings there, because ultimately if you're paying for something, you want to get a return. That's the same with anything. So those of you who have stuck around, those of you who continue to invest in the channel, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Consider subscribing if you are new to the channel and haven't subscribed yet. If you need more proof, hopefully this video is evidence enough to click that subscribe button. Take a guess how much this dump truck goes for. It's an old Hot Wheels car. It's made in Hong Kong. It's called the something tipper, the American tipper. Duh. 1977 flying colors. You can tell, very good condition. $42 plus shipping. Very happy to have picked this one up. This one came in, I think from memory, I went to pick up some Thomas trains. I asked them if they had more. Alright, went to pick up some Thomas Duplo trains. So I got a whole tub of Duplo. And then the story was she was clearing all the grandkids' toys. And then she said, I've still got these cars to go through. And I went, you do? And she went, I've sorted these ones already. And she pointed to the ground. A bunch of Tonka trucks that I didn't want. They were really, really dirty. Because she kind of went from big to small. To her, small things were hard, big things were easy because they're easy to do. So then I said to her, oh, we're not really into that. She's like, oh, I've got some smaller ones. So I think they're in the drawer somewhere. And she just went to a kitchen and then pulled out this drawer. She brought the whole drawer and this was in it. And I said to her, how much do you want for the, it's like $20. So yeah, $20. It was like a whole bag of cars. This is one of them, 42. Most of them were in similar condition too. Very happy to pick this one up. This is an interesting one. This is a 14-inch Lightning McQueen car. It's push along only, so there is no motor in it. There is a battery compartment because if you press these buttons, he says Fraser's. But the reason why this sells is because there's a switch here that lets you change his eyes. So as he's talking, he can be like, hello. What? No. Who's here? Who? Who? You? You? That's it. That's $40 plus shipping. Sold this Q dress for $25 plus shipping. Belt's in great condition, but some bending around around the hole where the buckle goes into. And the dress itself, condition-wise, is like good, but not great. So we couldn't ask for more. Otherwise, I find with the whole rose gold belt buckle with that whole burgundy, olive, teal kind of combination tends to go for like 40, 50. But 25, I'm not going to complain. Cost of goods on this was only 4. And then at the beginning of the video, I said that item was interesting for me because it's my first ever sale of a vintage item. I hear people talking about vintage all the time, and to me, I'm not familiar with vintage. And I just happened to be at the thrift store. I saw this and I thought, you know what, this looks interesting. It's by Newport. I think it's New Zealand, the brand. The material is like the material on those vintage windbreaker jacket type things, like parachute material. And even if you look at the print, right, it's really cool how it looks like stripes. You get closer, there's like the pink overlaps with the purple overlaps with the blue. There's a bit of like hashing there with some black, and then it goes into gray. It's really cool and complex. This one sold for $50 plus shipping. Yay! But it did sit for a while. This one I've had for about a year already. So then it's got me thinking about with vintage. Do you guys, is there such thing as fast moving vintage, or does it all just sit and you just have to build up a store with enough volume that your regular sales are because there are enough, you're capturing a wide enough net? Or is it a case where there is actually fast moving vintage where people are waiting for it, but it's a very slim bit? You know what I mean? Like the functionality versus desirability. Whereas, because when I look at mainstream clothing, we've got that too. You've got, your ball gowns that sit for a little bit, but when someone buys, they pay a lot for it. Is that the vintage market as a whole? Versus, say, office wear, sportswear, jerseys, where the sell-through is a lot faster because it's still relevant. So vintage, currently not relevant, but there's clearly a market for it. What's the sell-through like? I'd love to learn. Those of you guys who sell vintage clothing, educate me in the comments. Okay, let's fawn over this beautiful E36 325i Cabriolet. The bonnet opens up and holds. There is a red battery cap cover. The engine on one side does not have BMW, but on the other side it does, like a typical BMW engine block. You've got different colors for the water tank, the coolant. You've also got very fine, all these lines, these silver lines you see here, they actually are textured as well, including where the word BMW is. The actual headlights look like lights inside. You've got the gap where if you open up your actual car, you can see the gap where the bulbs are. Very, very cool. There's an indent where the logo goes. These are just your signature, BMW wheels. You've got seats that don't move, but the inside gear shifter, normally it's a plastic piece that just clips onto the center console, in which case then a slight flick comes off. This is a full molded piece, which is super cool. Also, the wheel moves with that as you steer. The door opens and closes with like a solid, there's like a thud to it, as opposed to where if it's a cheaper make, you can sense resistance when you push this one. Very satisfying. Almost like, what would it feel like to open my actual BMW door, but with my finger? Very similar. You've also got 10 colored side door panels. The seat belts don't come off, but they are colored in. You've got the speakers colored in the back. It is very much to scale. I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but the dashboard itself, very fine detail. Normally, you get like a very vague sticker. This one, yeah, very detailed. The boot doesn't open from memory. Underneath, that's what you get. This one sold for $159 plus shipping to Singapore. And I'm actually not surprised it sold to Singapore, because this car is very popular in Southeast Asia, warmer weather and so forth. And the model itself quite desirable too. I don't see this model as commonly here. Feels like it's the later model, not so much this model. So the fact that this is going overseas and to Asia, very not surprised. And quite happy about it too. Yeah, super, super detailed. This is made by UT Models. It is the 1/18 scale BMW 325i. We will now put into this SK Lauder box. That's that. That's the last one we need to pack. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching this video. Thanks for working with me throughout the day. Consider becoming a channel member. Consider subscribing if you haven't subscribed already. Join our Meaningful Hustle community. Enjoy your reselling, because hey, if you're just doing it as a job and it's a bit of a drudge, then why? Let's find the joy in it. And to that point about comparing yourself with others, get better, not feel better. And you'll find value in whatever it is that you choose to watch. Take care. Peace.